What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. And Elon Musk has offered to buy all of Twitter, and we need to talk about this. And we kind of figured that this would be the next move. Didn't know exactly how it would go, but I'm going to get right to it and let you know I don't think they're going to sell. I'm very knowledgeable about Elon Musk. So, I'm pretty knowledgeable about Tesla, SpaceX. Not the best expert out there. I'm not an expert in the SEC filings and all that. So I just want to get that out there. So I will be speculating in a lot of this stuff. Not many people are experts in that avenue. What we're seeing right now is the next move that we always thought was going to be. Well, most people who are following this story thought that this was going to be the next move. Elon Musk offered to buy all of Twitter. Good morning. Thank you for everybody stopping by in the chat. Bong Donkey, what is good? We are going to have to talk about this, of course, and I'm saying that I think that I have actually been vindicated in my original take that I thought Elon Musk had to start his own social media company, but we'll see what happens. I'm still appreciative for the move that Elon's making because he's going to expose he is helping to open everybody's eyes to what is happening in our country. This is Elon Musk. This story is Elon Musk versus BlackRock, Elon Musk versus ESG. That's what this is about. Period. That's the number one thing it's about. And Elon's doing that for his own best interest. Let me make that clear. It's about going against BlackRock to protect his companies. And then after that, free speech. In that order. He has to go against BlackRock, ESG to protect all of his companies from SpaceX to Tesla to Starlink, all of them. And I'm going to talk about that. And then he is a free speech advocate. I do believe that. But that is the secondary concern. What we're seeing is an intersectionality within Elon. I am a free speech guy, and I have to protect these companies. That's why Elon Musk is a cheap guy. You can say whatever, he's worth 270 billion or whatever. It changes all the time because most of it is in the stock. If the stock goes up, he's worth more. If it goes down, he's worth less. But he's very cheap. He's not buying Twitter just on a whim as a joke and all that. So I hope I can bring that perspective to people who don't understand all of that. This is via the New York Times, just to get the headline out of there. As you might know already, Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter. His takeover bid and this is somewhat of an inside joke with Elon Musk. Everything he does recently has to do with these numbers. 69, just as a childish prank, because 69. He's a brilliant guy, and I think there's always positives and negatives to come with being that smart, and he's a jokester, and I think that's a way for him to cope with his high intelligence and his incredible drive and a rage inside of him. And so he's joking. The 420, he always uses these number 420 because of, marijuana, whatever. I'm not really in that culture. My college friends all smoked. I never even puffed before. But so he does these numbers. When you see Elon Musk and you see the numbers 69 and 420, that's not an accident. He chose that price number as a homage to people who follow him. His takeover bid at $54.20 a share. And it's weird how a lot of these articles don't mention that. I don't understand. I know it's not that important, but I think it's worth mentioning that it's not an accident he chose $54.20. His takeover bid at $54.20 a share comes just weeks after he became the company's largest shareholder. And I'm going to go through a lot of this, but let me start with first, and thank you everybody as you're coming in. I'm going to try and get my thoughts out here. Let me start with the actual filing. This 13D is what it's called. So this is a public filing. Everybody can see it. Elon Musk actually tweeted it. So let me see if I can make this larger so everybody can see. From this public filing, this is a Form 13D. You have to file with the SEC. And I'm not an expert on when you have to do this and all that. It's not really relevant too much to what I'm going over. I did read through the whole thing, though, and we did find out something here. I think this is new. I realized that. So when we found out the news in March that he had crossed the reason why I said he had crossed the 9.2% threshold is because we didn't know if he bought them all on that one day or, the day before or whatever. So now we know this is a premium, and I'm going to talk about that, over the closing price of common stock on January 28th. So why did Elon Musk bring that up? Elon Musk offered that $54.20 a share and buying all the outstanding shares. So it's just going to be mine. Now, that he could have super friends in the background. What he's going to say is, I'm going to buy this company at these shares. We don't know where the money is going to come from yet. He could easily borrow off of his Tesla stock. I mean, that he could just borrow the money and easily borrow the money and buy all of it. He's worth, I think, about $270 billion now. Or he could sell the Tesla stock and buy it straight up. And what my thought is he doesn't do anything alone. One of Elon Musk's strongest attributes is the ability to bring people together to form a super team. The story of Tesla, I know I talk about Elon all the time, and I will give Warren Redlick a lot of credit. He's probably one of the number one people out there that says you don't give Elon all the credit. Give Elon the credit, of course, but give him also credit for getting the best of the best in the world in all areas of finance and engineering and all that to form super teams at Tesla and SpaceX. Elon Musk is the head honcho, but the people underneath him are what make it. And I think this is no different. He's not going into this battle. We are in a cultural civil war. This is not hot, thankfully. Nothing's flying for the most part, thankfully. But this is, make no bones about it, it's informational warfare. We're in all-out civil war with information and data in our country. It's full-blown. When you look at the history books, 100 years from now, they will call this era of civil war, of information warfare in America, period. And he's not doing that alone. Why would he do that alone when he's got people? But he wants to keep the people private. He doesn't want to out the. I'm just speculating again. I want to make sure that's clear. I don't want to act like I know everything, but I just want to talk like we're just having a beer or something like that. He has a super team, and he wants to keep them private, because if he outs them, and we have ideas of who they might be, but if he outs all of his super team, then now they are all targets. He wants the cloud of war. I'm the face of this. I'll take all the heat. But if this were to go through, and I'm going to tell you why it's not, in my opinion, not going to go through. If it were to go through, I don't think he will out the super team. It'll be him and private investors, and maybe we'll find out, but he wants to take the company private. It reminds you a lot about what he said about Tesla that got him in trouble with the SEC. So we see from the filing, he started purchasing on January 28th. Why is he bringing that up? He's bringing that up because when you're buying out a whole company, you pay a premium. You're not going to buy the whole company out and just pay the sticker price of the share. What Elon Musk is saying is, before I jumped aboard, this is what your stock price was. Then I jumped aboard and outed myself as having more than 9.2 shares. Your stock price went up. That is a premium. So Elon's saying, I'm not going to pay a premium on top of already a premium for just being me. Everybody knows your company's run like crap when it comes to finances. It's run pretty well when it comes to doing the bidding of the cabal. But when it comes to business practices, your company's not doing well. When they saw I came in with my 9.2 and my history of success at every company basically that I've been in to be the best of the best, then the shares went up. That's a premium. and I'm not paying. So normally when you buy a company out like this, you would pay more than the 54.20 that he's offering. He's saying I bumped it up already. That's part of the premium. Then I'll pay a little bit on top of that, but I'm not bumping up your stock because of me, and then on top of that paying another premium. That doesn't make any sense. Then on top of that, you have the opportunity cost. If I pull out, and I'll read this later, he's threatening, if you don't accept this offer, then I'm going to pull out altogether. So not only do you not get the premium when I jumped in, then the premium I'm offering to buy, you lose all of that, and then I would say the shares would probably drop at least 50%. So that's why he doesn't need to pay a premium on top of a premium. Because if I pull out, you lose my premium, you lose the premium, and then your stock drops even below that. I think it would go down to probably $10 a share potentially. But long term, it could bounce back. So I don't think they're going to sell. But that's what's happening there, the kind of the gamesmanship of it. Let me go to Elon's statement here. It's just a little bit lower. He wrote a letter, and there's this awkward dance in companies. There's this awkward dance between a company, especially if they're publicly traded, between the CEO and the chairman of the board. Their interests, they fight. So understand when you talk about, let's look at the cabal in D.C. So you might see Nancy Pelosi fighting with AOC. They're on the same team. They just because you might have loved ones in your family and you have beef and squabble, you're still a family, whether you want to be or not. So they're in the cabal. Don't get me wrong. They got the same interests as far as doing the bidding of their masters, but that doesn't mean they don't inter-squad fight. And just like I would call that Mitch McConnell versus Nancy Pelosi. That's an intra-squad battle. One wears red bandana, one wears a blue bandana, but they're really on the same team. And that's the tension we see right now because Trump isn't on one of those teams. He's on a different team. And so the red and blue team are trying to team up to get him out. But my point is Brett Taylor, I've spelled his name wrong somewhere. I thought it was 2 T's. But Brett Taylor, he was chief technical officer of Facebook, I believe. Let me not speak out of school, but he was with Salesforce and Facebook, I believe. He's the chairman of the board. Elon's making this move, and he's addressing Brett Taylor. He's not addressing Parag Agrawal. So that's important to note. Parag, you're done. Parag's role with Elon is done. Their relationship and all that, that's over. Brett Taylor, this is a letter from Elon Musk. I'm reading it straight from the 13D filing. Incredible stuff here. Incredible stuff. I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe, and I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy. However, since making my investment, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve this societal imperative in its current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. It just brings flashbacks back to when he said, I'm going to take Tesla private. As a result, I'm offering to buy 100% of Twitter for $54.20 per share in cash. A 54% premium over the day before I began investing. He's going to count from that day. He's not going to count from right now because they might say, it's not that much over where the stock is right now. Well, whoa, hold up. Don't do that, boo-boo. Where was your stock before I started outing myself as the leader in this cultural war against the cabal? It was a premium of 54% over the day before I began investing, 38% premium over the day before my investment was publicly announced. That's a premium. My offer is my best and final offer. If it is not accepted, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder. That's a threat. I think it's a threat that they don't care about. But Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it. Excuse me. So there we go. Unbelievable stuff. This is we're living in historical moments right now, and this is a moment that will be talked about. I think forever. That's how historical this moment is. I don't know how things are going to end in the end. I think common people are going to win in the end. Don't know how that looks. I admit part of it is just me trying to be optimistic, but there are white pill moments. This whole situation is a white pill moment. Today we kind of expected it, but this is a good moment. I want to live in a good moment. Someone's interests align with my interests, and they're fighting the fight with weapons, which is capital and intelligence and super friends. That's how things are going to work. So this battle's not going to be won without generals. So people, I think you got to rally. If your interests align with Elon Musk, you've got to rally around Elon Musk. What does that look like? Telling people what's happening, sharing your opinion. Of course, never forcing anyone to believe anything, but for people who are just normies and they've been smearing Elon Musk because they knew this was coming. And now I'm going to get to why they're not going to accept the offer, in my opinion. They saw this coming, and they're playing a game of media warfare. They're not going to accept the offer. And I'll put myself out there, and I will, if I have to eat this crow, it would be like the happiest crow to ever eat. I would ever eat if I have to eat this pie. And I'm wrong, but and if you follow me, I don't definitively say things very often like this. Like I'm 99% sure. So I wouldn't say 99. I would say I'm 90% sure. Maybe I would say 95. I'm very sure they're not going to accept this offer. They would rather, the purpose of Twitter is not to maximize its profits. What we're dealing with are rich people. They can absorb losses. It would hurt. They're upset about it, but this is not something that they can't absorb. And they would be happy to absorb, because Twitter, the purpose of Twitter is very clear. The purpose of Twitter is to play a role in disseminating information that the government wants to control. If Elon Musk buys Twitter and goes private, the government loses control. So no one is going to allow that to happen. That is Twitter's number one imperative. Their number one imperative is not to make money. So why the hell would they care if Elon Musk is offering? Elon Musk could offer them $1 trillion. Elon Musk could offer them $1 trillion, and he doesn't have enough to do that. But he could. Actually, in a way, he might. Because let me digress for a second. A lot of people don't take into account his net worth. He's got these private companies, Neuralink and Boring Company and Starlink. He has so many. I always forget one. SpaceX. None of them are public. If any of those companies went public right now, he would be probably, I don't know, I'm just guessing where he'd be, but he'd be close to he'd probably be over $500 billion. Easy. So he's almost worth $1 trillion now, in my opinion. But so he maybe could kind of finagle that. He would be giving up everything, so he wouldn't do that. But I digress. If he offered $1 trillion for it right now, they wouldn't take it. There's not enough money that would be worth it for them to sacrifice the importance of Twitter. So don't think that this is a possibility. If it happens, great. But there's no reason for it to happen. There's absolutely no reason for them to sell it. It's not happening. Let me read this part here. As I indicated this weekend, I believe that the company should be private to go through the changes that need to be made. After the past several days of thinking this over, I have decided I want to acquire the company and take it private. I am going to send you an offer letter tonight. It will be public in the morning. Are you available to chat? Best and final. I am not playing a back and forth game. I have moved straight to the end. It's a high price and your shareholders will love it. If the deal doesn't work, given that I don't have confidence in management, nor do I believe I can drive the necessary change in the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as shareholder. This is not a threat. It's simply not a good investment without the changes that need to be made. And those changes won't happen without taking the company private. My advisors and my team are available after you get the letter to answer any questions. There will be more detail in our public filings after you receive the letter. And review the public filings. Your team can call my family office with any questions. It absolutely is a threat, but sometimes you have to say it's not a threat when it really is a threat. Greg Abbott is absolutely blackmailing at the border, trying to delay, goods coming in from Mexico by doing extra searches, but you can't call it blackmailing. It is a threat. His threat is, I'm going to sell my shares in your company. The stock's going to crash from before where it was when I even came in. So yes, it is a threat. When he talked about the company should go private, this is the reason why he's talking about that is because of BlackRock. Because of these big asset management companies, he can't operate Twitter publicly. They would openly attack Twitter. When you take the company private, like Daily Wire, that's why Daily Wire is able to make these moves. They've got investors behind the scenes, and they don't have to deal with BlackRock. On Tim Pool, Jeremy Boring was on with him, and Tim Pool asked him about ESG. And Jeremy Boring's answer was, we're private, so we don't have to worry about that as much. That's what Elon's saying. I want to take this company private. We'll do what we need to do internally to get this right. For example, they've got way too many employees. It's just a bloat company at this point. You don't need that many employees to run Twitter, believe it or not. You really don't need, they got 5,500, about 6,000 employees. That's craziness. So he's going to make changes behind the scenes to make the company more profitable, more efficient, completely change the terms and agreement, all that. Of course, fire the CEO and all, the whole thing would be revamped, and he can do that behind the scenes without having to deal with this board and their interests and everyone, the BlackRock, and then all the media attacking him for no reason. So they're not going to sell. There's not a price that they would sell for. What they're doing right now is thinking about, how do we win this game in the media? Public relations. We're not going to sell. How do we not sell? And then they will probably come out and say, look at us. We're the heroes. We saved Twitter from Elon Musk. And then half these clowns in our society will clap like, baby, yay, BlackRock. They will actually cheer BlackRock. They literally will cheer BlackRock and this oligarchy that basically has become a fascistic type of relationship with the government and Twitter. They will clap it. They will clap the death of the Constitution, at least the First Amendment in this case. And they'll come out as heroes. Just like the Time article that came out, the cabal of, they basically, just paraphrasing, it basically was like, here's the cabal of heroes that saved the 2020 election. That's what they would say. We're the heroes. We saved it. We won't get Trump back on. Elon, we're saving the company from Elon Musk. They'll come out as heroes. To me, there's a 0% chance that they will sell this company to Elon Musk. They will lose. They'll burn the whole thing to the ground. They don't care about lose. They'll lose all the money they have in it, not to sell it. So ultimately, it's funny. I did a video way back, I don't even remember. It was like way back in 2021 where I said Elon's got to make his own social media network, and that's where this is heading. I think Elon Musk is, and he already knows that. But here's where I'm very grateful. If they don't take his offer and the stock plummets, at least temporarily, I think it would probably bounce back long term, but let's say it plummets and stays down, and everyone looks at it like, you could have sold and got a premium on a premium, but you knew it was going to drop, and you let it drop to like nothing almost. What's the real agenda here? It's waking people up slowly. A lot of people who are just walking around in the world, which I know I'm not knocking them. Everybody's not into this kind of stuff. It kind of will wake some of them up. Not all of them, not the majority of them, but it exposes this whole racketeering scheme that they have going on. They'll spin it as heroes, of course. Let me take it to, I want to go back to this private, this moment. This is back in 2018. Elon Musk said he wants to take Tesla private at over 70 billion. Here's what that means. The funny thing is about that is when you think about it, 70 billion. This was 2018. Obviously, we're in 2020. Now Tesla is, what is Tesla worth now? Let me look that up real quick. It's worth more than $1 trillion. Oh, jeez. Tesla is worth, at least these articles I'm looking at, the value fluctuates, but this was 70 billion just 4 years ago. My goodness. So he tweeted, and why did he tweet that? It's the same situation why he wants to take Twitter private. The same reason that he would want to do that is because he wanted to protect it from the government and these big companies that were trying to short him. Look at the number that comes up again, $4.20 a share. He's a very smart guy, and just like the lineup of cars, the Model S, and he wanted to do the Model 3, but I think Ford had it, so it's S. He wanted to do E, I'm sorry, and Ford got the Model E. So he has S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y, and that spells sexy as the lineup. Everything's a joke to him. SpaceX started out from napkin math on a flight back from Russia when Russia didn't want to deal with him. I think he wanted to work with Russia to get rockets or something like that. I don't remember the full details, but the deal fell through. He's like, I'm going to do it on my own. How much do you think it would take for me to create rockets that are reusable? And he did the math on the napkin, said it works out. Let's start SpaceX. Boring Company, somebody started as a joke. Why don't we just do tunnels underground like ants? If you don't know, Boring Company has a big drill. They drill in the ground and they make tunnels that are small enough to fit basically a Tesla or maybe even a semi, and it will it would alleviate a lot of traffic. It would just be like a subway system for cars. It started out as a joke. So that's how he does these things. So he said he would take it private. He said, I have funding secured. People looked into it. They didn't think he really had funding secure. The SEC got involved. That's why he wants to take it public. The SEC has always been against him. SEC has always supported the short selling, which really, why do we allow companies to bet on the failure of other companies or people to do that? It's an interesting concept. Imagine you have a company. Everybody has a private company, but imagine if you had a company and millions of people were betting on your failure. Very interesting. What's the value to that? It's just, there is no value other than gambling either way. So he was actually at the time CEO and chairman, and the company was public. So he made a mistake here and gave the SEC a reason to split the roles. So he could no longer be both roles. So why would I think they have it here. What does it mean to go private? That means you don't have to file a lot of these forms. You can do things in secret. It's not public. And then in this article it said, why do companies go private? And why Tesla might? Sometimes a company's management and shareholders see going private as an opportunity to instantly cash out. That's not his role. Consider a premium instead of having to bet the company shares will go up. He knew at that time the company shares would go up. He knows Twitter will go up if he gets control of it. Here's the part that's it's worded awkwardly here. They said a company might want to avoid some of the pressures of being public, such as having to file these forms, and the stock prices can swing wildly from day to day. And that's a nice way of saying that there's government control and there's government relationship with these private asset management companies. Obviously, the government doesn't like Elon Musk. And they have this relationship with BlackRock and all the other major asset firms. And people were talking about the largest individual shareholder. That I don't even know why that was brought up. The other shareholders are these big asset management firms. Those are the ones to look at. And if they are in with the government, he wants to hide from the government. So you guys can't see what I'm doing. You can't affect what I'm doing. and ESG can't affect what I'm doing. At some point, you're going to see attempts to affect a private company like this. He's going to start his own social media company. It will be private, in my opinion, and I will be interested to see what the government's going to try and do to affect private companies like Daily Wire, Elon Musk. I would like to see, this was my original proposal for Elon, is to do a super team with Daily Wire and these other companies so you can pool your resources together and you're not starting from scratch. We've got Gab, we've got Rumble, and I don't know their relationships. I mean, it's easy for me to say just work with Gab or Rumble, but Gab already has their private servers all set up, and Elon Musk could set up a separate site that just aggregates them all together. Like, I'm the head honcho, we're fighting this culture war, but we've got these factions here and none of us are working together. That's why Tim Pool and Daily Wire, how they're working together now. It was great yesterday to see Tim Pool. He looked like, I don't know if anybody saw this, but Tim Pool was on with the Daily Wire. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chats. I guess got to get this rant out. Tim Pool was with the Daily Wire yesterday. And I tweeted about it. I was like, this is so dope. It's like watching the Justice League form, like Batman trying to work with Superman and the Martian and Wonder Woman and all them, Aquaman kind of coming together. That's what it was like. It's just such a beautiful thing. And Tim Pool was hinting at, like, I want to do movies. They do movies. Let's team up. And I want to see Steven Crowder in it. I want to see as many people as possible team up, where it's not like it's too much where you're blending the lines between your company, but it's beneficial for everyone. And who's better to lead that than Elon? That's what I wanted from the start. Elon can't put a super team big enough to go against. BlackRock is just one of the asset management companies. They manage 10 trill. There's no super team that, unless he infiltrates the asset management companies, which isn't happening, there's no super team he can put together to fight that. So I was like, do something, talk with Tim Pool, get all these guys in a room, do a conference with them privately, or make it out in the open. I don't care. Air it. Do like a conference with these, bring in all whoever the big guys are. Rogan. How dope would this be? It'd be great. It'd be much more powerful than even buying Twitter. Bring in Rogan, bring in Tim Pool, bring in whoever else, Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, bring in Gab, bring in Rumble. I know Odyssey and them been beefing. Man, y'all are making me sick with that stupid petty stuff, man. There's too much at stake for this petty stuff between all platforms. Bring whoever wants to be in and do some real stuff together, and let's talk about, I've got resources. Obviously, I can do 40 bill. How could that be best used to maximize everybody already doing their thing? That's what I wanted to see from Elon, and I think that's where this is heading. I think that's where it's heading. But it seems like Elon's kind of doing his own thing on his own. I hope it goes towards aggregating what's already out there. And you've got to make it as cancel-proof as possible. You've got to have your own servers, physical servers. You can't depend, obviously, on any of these institutions. Important stuff going on here. I'm going to just do a couple things. I never talked about this, so it's a little bit off topic. Then I'll go through the chat, and then I'll be out. I never talked about this, but I want to talk about it since I'm talking about it now. We missed the opportunity here. Oh, man. If I were Quantum Leap and I went back in time, I would want this moment. They were talking about Elon Musk doing a Ask Me Anything situation, or, so basically Elon Musk would be on a stage, hypothetically, with Parag Agrawal and the company, because everybody in the company was, not everybody, but a lot of people were in uproar, and hey, ask me anything. What that session was going to be, I don't know if Parag understood that or what, but that session, that ask me anything was going to be Elon Musk flaming people. That's what it was going to be. Let me tell you why. It's the same reason why the military, you remember when the National Guard took over D.C., believe that happened 25, geez. Some of the stuff that's happening in our world, man. Do you believe after the election that the National Guard, the state sent troops, including Florida? That's how different we are right now. States, including Florida, sent their state National Guards to D.C. to basically help the transition of power. Wow. That wouldn't happen now. And DeSantis took them away. But my point is, they were vetting them to make sure that nobody had allegiance, that everyone was in with the cabal. If you had any anti-government sentiments or whatever, you were gone. And that's what the experimental drug is for. That's the number one thing about it, in my opinion, is to say, if you don't take this, I know where you stand. I'm telling you, whether it's true or not, I'm telling you that this experimental drug is about life or death. And I'm telling you in a collective manner, like collectivism, you need to do this for the better of society. If you don't do it, I've got the information I need to know that you're not in our collective group and you must be purged one way or the other, with it, whether it's your voice or up to the ultimate sacrifice. You will need to be purged. And that's what Elon Musk was going to do. Elon Musk was going to go up there and trigger them even more, in my opinion. Twitter has too many employees already. He wants them to leave. So if he triggers them and they leave voluntarily, he's like, bet, I purged the worst of the worst. And then he would fire everyone. He would still try to do a test and fire. I think he would fire damn near everybody. If he took the company private, this is kind of why they're triggered, because they know this. I think he would. I think he would start from scratch. There's nobody at Twitter right now that he needs. He already has an AI company. Do people realize that Tesla is an AI company? They've got in the works this dojo that would be, it's not designed for social media, but how hard do you think it is to tweak that? He's got AI for space. He's got AI for autonomous driving, one of the most difficult AI projects ever attempted. And he has cars right now that can make right turns, stop at stoplights. You go online, search full self-driving Tesla. You'll see people posting videos of no interventions, going from one place to another place where the car did everything. Now, it's not doing it everywhere, but they're getting to that point. My point is, that's all AI. So this stuff is nothing. I think he would fire everyone. I seriously do. I think he would fire literally everyone from the company and just merge it kind of with his people that he trusts. Why the hell do you need 6,000 people to run Twitter? Are you out of your mind? You don't need 6,000 people to run Twitter. There is no way. And he would get them moved out, trigger them. They would ask him questions like, what do you think about this? And he wouldn't be calling people names, or he wouldn't be like shaming people, but he would be professionally just destroying their arguments and not backing down and being very forceful at this Ask Me Anything meeting. It would have been hilarious. I so wanted that meeting. I so wanted that, because that's what he wanted to do with it. And that's what he does on Twitter. He's doing it on purpose to try to ish post and filter people out who I don't need to deal with. You don't need to be on my timeline, that type of thing. So I that's a moment that I am so disappointed we missed that moment. But we will never get it, but we'll get a startup with him with employees that he trusts. There's a story that came out about bots. Tesla's been allegedly been using bots since 2013 to manipulate stock prices. And this is just another attempt from, in my opinion, the group here who is anti-Trump, anti-Elon, and anti-Trump, because Elon would bring Trump back. They're just trying to attack him any way they can. And they're trying to attack him saying he used bots, which I think is true. I don't know that for a fact or not. It's allegedly. But I can say that, do I believe these allegations or not? I do believe it's true. All these companies use bots. What is that? That's nothing new. They're using bots to try and short Tesla. They're using bots, and Tesla might be using bots. So I don't know the legal ramifications of that. But even in the article here, this is from the Entrepreneur, aggregated by Microsoft News. What we're seeing here is, let me look at this. They're using bots for crypto. They're using bots for the AMC stuff. Everybody's using bots. The funny thing is, a lot of people can detect when bots are being used, but why can't they stop the bots? Nobody really wants to stop the bots. I'm surprised. Why isn't Facebook coming up in here? Okay, I thought there's. Oh, where's the full article? Um, hmm. The article, I thought it did in the article admit that Tesla wasn't the only company that uses bots, and their use of bots is not out of the ordinary compared to these other even publicly traded companies. So all my point with that is you'll see more attack ads like that. You'll probably see more racial discrimination lawsuits coming against Tesla. They're going to go through all those different avenues to try and take Tesla down. So I think that's the majority of my thoughts on it. Let me go through the chat here. Thanks for stopping by and sitting through the rant. If you're sitting through, and let me go through questions. Start with the most recent. It's just the easiest the way StreamYard is. People who have been writing code there for years are not immediately replaceable. Yes, they are. What do you mean they're not replaceable? And they're not even trustworthy. M-Ball, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, obviously, no disrespect. You're a friend of the show. But yeah, of course they are. And the first test is, can I trust you? Why do you think the government's trying to force the highest trained people in our military, to my knowledge, the Navy SEALs, to take a experimental drug? They're not easily replaceable. It's because the first test is, can I trust you? That's the first test. I don't care if you're irreplaceable or not. That's the first test. Secondly, they absolutely are replaceable. He's got AI people all out the yin yang. He's got AI people out the yin yang. This is not a complicated. I'm not an expert, so maybe you could clown me or say I'm talking out of school. But this is not complicated. This is not running Twitter and the algorithm and all that is not more complicated than autonomous driving. I can guarantee you that. So they're gone. Okay, so M-Ball says, no disrespect, but it's background. Okay, so let me defer to you on that, M-Ball. Thank you. So let me defer to you on, let's say they're not easily replaceable. I think they are because he's already got AI, but let's say I'm wrong. Do you agree with me? The first test is, can you trust them? That's the first test. So if it's somebody who's not easily replaceable and you see them on social media, they're like, Elon Musk is the devil and he's a Yahtzee. Doesn't matter. They're gone. Yeah, Elon's going to get rid of them. You can't trust them. So yeah. Chuck said we are all replaceable in a large company. So I'm going to default to M-Ball on if they're replaceable or not. That is not my area of expertise. But the first thing is just like Game of Thrones. Will you bend the knee? And for Elon, he's not having, I don't think he has an employees bend his knee to him, but are you on my team or not? I can't have people against me because that's how Trump had things leaked. Everybody in DC was against Trump. Everybody. That's why he had to have his family close to him. It looked a little unsavory and it was like a little uncomfortable to see him relying on his family so much, but who could he trust? So these are people who are very knowledgeable in how DC runs, like Previs and all these people. But in the end, if you can't trust them, they're actually hurting you. Aren't a lot of people who write code take a lot of shrooms? So yeah, we'll see. People want to work. We'll see what happens. People, if you're at Twitter, I would say keep your, if you want to stay and keep your job at Twitter, just in the chance, I don't think Elon's going to buy it, but I would keep my views private if I were you. Bishop, also friend of the show, says, just for the leftist mental meltdown alone, I'm hoping Elon will be able to pull this off. Yeah, but it takes two. I'm not an expert in the SEC process. I don't think they have to accept his offer, as crazy as it might be. Elon could offer them $10 trillion. They still don't have to accept it, I don't think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they have to accept it. The only threat he has at this point is, I'm pulling out and your stock's going to drop. And that's not much of a threat. It will drop. It could drop down to $10 a share, but over time, over years, it will just come back to where it was, in my opinion. Eric Smith, friend of show, some far left extremist type should blow up Twitter. They would implode Twitter. And talking about the platform, not anything physical or violence, of course, but I think they would potentially try to sabotage the platform. I wonder how much of this is they don't want Elon Musk to see the algorithm. I think it's clear Elon Musk has not seen the algorithm. And I think there's some very ugly things. They might be cleaning that up just in case too now. Who knows? I think there are some very disturbing things if you let Elon Musk see what's going on with the algorithm, what has been going on with the algorithm, all this information about the company. I think it might even be more about that. Because if he buys it and takes it private, he can leak all that stuff. He could leak what the algorithm was doing, how it got adjusted over time, who adjusted it. Woo! So you understand my point why I think there is a 0% chance they will accept any offer from him. Elon said it's his final offer. That's a lie. There's no final offer. There's always a bidder. There's always a better offer unless you don't have the money. But you see why I say there's no chance they're selling it. He could go in and see everything and expose everything. That's how the algorithm right now, to me, is the most powerful entity in our country. It's more powerful than the government. It's more powerful than anything. Whoever controls this controls a lot. And Ball says you can get rid of many of them, but the company's not the same. Yeah, Elon doesn't want the company to be the same. The ideology. So why does Twitter have 6,000? And Ball, you're probably more of an expert than me on this. Why does a company need 6,000 employees? So Shameful said basically censor admins. I don't think they hire that many. That the censorship, let me look it up, but the censorship stuff is done by AI, and then they'll do some by human review. So I'll see how many human, what do they call them? Ian from Tim Pool, I think he used to be like a censor admin. What do they call them? How many censor admins? I don't even know what that position is called. Does Twitter have? I don't know if do they make that public? I don't know. Does anybody know? I don't want to digress too far. I'll have to look that up. How many of those 6,000 employees are just human admins? Maybe Shameful knows better than I do. But even if it doesn't matter what their role is, that he would fire them all. I think he would get rid of all of them. He's got to start with trust. M-Ball says Twitter can't run without people who are there now. If he bought it and went private, I think he would be able to bring in enough people just to keep it out. It might go down for a little bit, like as far as maybe even options and stuff like. There could be radical changes, but the most important thing is people you can trust that won't leak stuff. I mean, won't bring lawsuits against you potentially, HR type stuff. There's a lot of concerns there. You can't have a radical person who hates you in the company. It's impossible to get all the purge out, but you would have to purge it as much as possible. Shameful. I thought it was shameful. Shameful says Elon Musk is one brave man taking on 2022 liberals single-handedly. He is, and history will go down like that. It will. He's risking everything. They're going to attack all his companies. He could have plants in his other companies to try and take them down with discrimination lawsuits or anything else. I'm not saying anything out there right now I don't know if they're true or not. I'm just saying potentially that could happen. You could have people who are with the cabal apply with his companies. I mean, the universities control this ideology. So you're hiring people from these universities. That's why you saw Barry Weiss and others wanted to start this University of Austin. And that's why I think Elon Musk was serious about starting his own university, because if you breed people up from K through college, through master's, through PhD in this ideology of obeying the cabal, then when Elon Musk hires them, they're going to hate him because they're told to hate him. It doesn't matter how smart they are. So it's a very precarious, dangerous thing. It starts with the people closest to the top, though. So Elon Musk at the top, he gets people around him he can trust. Those people are gone. I don't care what their background is. He's got to have people around him he can trust, and then they hire, because obviously he can't vet everybody. Eric Smith says, Mars ain't the kind of place to raise kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. Mars is very cold, very dusty. It's incredible. Like when I say dusty, I mean like so dusty with fine particles that you wouldn't even be able to operate like a laptop, a normal device there. the dust would get everywhere. So it is a very dangerous climate. And what he's doing is he's creating everything Elon Musk does is about Mars. The Cybertruck is about, to me, about a vehicle on Mars. The Boring Company is about, because on Mars you could potentially live underground. The Boring Company, to me, I don't know if he could get the drill, I forgot what it's called, the drill to go to Mars, but that's what it's about. Solar. How would you power electricity up there? It would be all solar. Every aspect of his company, Starlink, how do you get internet? Every aspect of his company is about sustaining life on other planets like Mars. So if you put all his companies together and just prop them on Mars, including Twitter, because Twitter is the communication. And one thing I forgot to mention, a lot of people don't talk about Elon Musk. Like, I read these articles and it's just so crazy that they don't bring this kind of stuff up, like New York Times and all that. I mean, that's why I started this channel, because I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, how are you purposely ignoring this stuff? Tesla does not have public relations. He fired the public relations. Let me Google that and put it up here so people understand. Why? I forgot. I meant to mention this in the rant. Tesla disbanded the public relations team. They have no they have a bare bones. Fired them all. And this is just a random website. We'll see what it is. I haven't vetted this article. But it says, why did Tesla disband its PR team? So he disbanded his PR team. Twitter is his PR team. He is his PR team with 80 million followers on Twitter. When he says, I see the potential in Twitter, that's obviously not a lie. He's not really active on any other social media. He was on Clubhouse a couple times, but not nearly as big as Twitter. All his PRs on Twitter, all his Tesla community people who support him are on Twitter. A lot of them are on YouTube too. But he could just turn Twitter into YouTube. He can turn Twitter into TikTok and he has big thoughts for Twitter. But he'll have to do it on his own now. But why did he do that? Elon Musk is not a conventional CEO. He is what you would call a disruptor. So what he does is when he looks at Twitter, he breaks it down to what he would call, I believe it's called first principle thinking. Basically saying, assume everything about Twitter is wrong. How the interface looks, like everything, assume it's wrong, put together your goals, and with first principle thinking, how do you build it back up? So in long term, he would completely revamp Twitter. It wouldn't even look the same. It would be completely different. And why did he disband it? Because his competition, a lot of people spend billions of dollars on commercials. His goal is make the product so good it advertise itself through word of mouth. That's what he did he doesn't spend a dime of marketing in the US. Now he used to do stuff like a referral program. Like if you buy a Tesla and give somebody a code, you get 1,000 free charging miles. I don't know what it is now. It's not that anymore, but that's only like $50 to $100 worth, depending on where you are. So you could call that marketing. But as far as like commercials on TV, if you ever see a Tesla on TV, they did not pay to have it on TV. They do a little bit of marketing in China because the culture is different. That's the importance of Twitter. If he doesn't control any type of media outlet, he would have to create his own. Jeff Bezos, Twitter, all of them can attack him, lie about him, and how does he fight back in the media? He's on Twitter, but he obviously could get banned. They're probably mad they haven't banned him because they could have banned him already. They were probably worried about the fallout, but I don't know if they saw this coming. If you could go back in time and they knew what was going to happen now, they would have banned him from Twitter. I guarantee that to you. So that's why he has to buy Twitter or start his own. If this deal falls through, he will be banned from Twitter within a month. Done. All you have to do is go back to a previous post. There's no time limit. You could go back, unless he deletes everything. He might. If this falls through, I would guarantee you, watch this. If this deal, like I think it will fall through, he'll go on Twitter and he'll delete every post he's ever done. Guarantee it to you. So he can start fresh. He doesn't want to give them an excuse to ban him, because that's what they would do. You could literally ban probably they make the rules. The only rule that matters on social media is they make the rules. When you look at the terms of agreement, that's the only thing that matters. We can ban you for whatever the hell reason we want to. So Twitter is important to him primarily to protect the public image of his Twitter and media in general, to protect the public image of all his properties that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into. Free speech is not his primary concern. It is his secondary concern. So I went off a tangent there, but I wasn't even sharing my screen. I thought I was sharing my screen. I'm a boomer. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's all about Mars. And Mars is ugly, and the trip to Mars will be ugly. That's why he's doing Tesla bots now. I did a video a while back. You can search my channel for bots, maybe. I wasn't as good as doing my titles back then, but maybe Tesla bot probably would be able to find it. This Tesla bot, if you're not familiar, is going to be a humanoid robot, and it's all about Mars. Now, keep in mind, he's selling the products on Earth to make money to fund with Mars. You see how brilliant this is? It's just straight up brilliant. What he's doing is he's creating these companies, and the whole goal of these companies is to get to Mars. But instead of just creating companies and keeping them private, or all of them private, and just trying to get to Mars, he's saying, well, why these can be useful here. So I'm going to use these products, sell them to people, make money that will fund the trip to Mars while I'm just preparing for Mars. And this is the Tesla bot. It will have a hand, fingers, using the same type of automation as the car, a camera, the same AI. Tesla's the #1 AI company in the country, in my opinion. Google should be. I don't know what the hell happened to Google. They should be the #1, but I think this wokeism and all that kind of got them astray. But this bot is for Mars. I don't know. On the first trip to Mars, there might be no humans on Mars. It might just be these bots, because the trip is so dangerous. The radiation on the way there alone is extremely dangerous. Thanks for those comments. Good stuff there. Casual Goat says, yes, buy Twitter. What's up, Casual Goats? Of course, friend of show. I don't think it's going to happen, because it takes two to tango. Unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I don't think there's a way to force a takeover, unless shareholders do. But I don't think that will happen. The shareholders could put pressure and say, hey, we don't want the stock price to go down. I don't know what the rules are on when the board could sell their shares now, because what they would do is they know they're not going to buy it from Elon, so they would want to maybe potentially sell their shares. Here's the scenario I think will happen. Elon Musk will try to buy it. They will say no. They're going to do the hit piece. They're going to come out looking like the heroes. We saved you from Trump. We saved you from Elon Musk. Invest in our company because we're the heroes. Not even because it's good or we're doing the right things, because we're the heroes. But the stock will still drop. They would buy it all up to make sure this doesn't happen again. You would see huge consolidation on the stock from these asset management firms to make sure no one else can even do this. M. Ball, the first trips to Mars with bots have already happened. Yeah. Thank you. He's right. We got a drone on Mars right now. And then there's been other, everything on Mars is a bot because it's controlled remotely. Yeah, but I think we're going to get the human bots on there. And the dust will probably be the #1 problem. The dust gets all up in the, stuff. But they know, obviously, they got bots on there now, so they know how to combat that. But yeah, there's a drone on Mars. To my knowledge, it's still on there right now. Been doing a lot of flying, amazing pictures coming back from Mars. China has one on there too right now, doesn't it? I think China has. Do we both have? That's crazy. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I thought China had one on there too. Hey, we could have a Mars fight, man. Star Wars for real. That'd be funny if the two drones started shooting at each other. And we're fighting over Mars before anybody gets there. It's weird. Mars is beautiful in a hideous way, I would say. It's just all like red. Oh, China's on the moon. Is that where they're at? I thought they were on Mars. Maybe. China does have a bot up there. Yeah, Casual Goats follows this stuff. So China has a bot up there. So we both have bots on Mars right now at the same time. I haven't even talked about that. That's wild, isn't it? How long? It takes months. What does it take? 6 months? Or it depends on when you leave, but it can take 6 to even longer months to even get to Mars. So I think Elon Musk wants bots to get there, because having people die on the way there or on Mars, which is very likely, it could be bad for public relations and future trips. So I think he might want to do a full Tesla bot trip. That's why he's developing the bot. It's not for, we will use it for it to do our laundry, to wash dishes, and basically do anything we don't want to do eventually. At first, when it comes out, it won't be able to do much, but it will get better, just like the cars got better. But it's not just for that. It's really for Mars. And that's what he's doing. Let me look at some tweets here. The pictures from the drones are amazing. Mars is a pipe dream. It is. It's a long shot. But they also said creating reusable rockets was dangerous and a long shot too. Here's what Elon looks at. Is it the right thing to do, and is there a greater than 0% chance? That's what he looks at. But you're right. It's a long shot. But when you look at humanity, we're going to get there eventually. It was a long shot for people to cross the Atlantic to get here. It will happen eventually. Whether it happens in our lifetime is a long shot. It would be amazing if it happened. But yeah, I think let's get to the moon first. Like, that's my thought. The moon's a lot closer. Get a space station up there, which is going to happen. They announced they are going to put a space station to orbit the moon. And so there's a stopping point on the way to Mars, potentially. And let's just go piece by piece. Like, I talked with Ray Studios, and he believes the theories that we never went to the moon. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not convinced that we've been to the moon before. I'll be fully honest with you. I am not convinced. So I'm not going to say it's true or not, but I have questions. Elon Musk does believe, or at least publicly, he does believe we've been on the moon. E-Chuck says, I generally agree. I don't think there's a 0% chance of Musk taking over, but I think it is unlikely. If they burn it down for no legitimate business reason, they will risk lawsuits. Yeah. But they're made of money, and the government, the taxpayers will bail them out. They have already, these asset management firms, they don't care about the individuals. That's the collectivism. The greater good is not to allow Elon Musk to amass power and to hopefully stop the precedent of a private person or private people getting together to make power moves like this in the future against the globalist agenda. So the collective mindset would be, we're against that. So if you are a millionaire and you lose half your net worth or whatever, if you're a private citizen and you got too much invested into Twitter and you lose all your money, that's just collateral damage. That's just like with the experimental drug. They know there's going to be a lot of people, not a lot, but I'm saying there's a percentage of people that will die or not take it well. That's just, hey, for the greater good. We'll still mandate it. And if you die, then peace, rest in peace, and we'll move on, because it's worth sacrificing you for the greater of society. So they'll sacrifice whatever they need to sacrifice. I forgot what the term is. They have an official term for companies that are too big to fail. It's something like strategic entities worth saving. I forgot what it's called, but they literally have a governmental designation on BlackRock that they are too big to fail. So they can do whatever they want, and they will always get bailed out. Let's look at it. Funny thing is that tactic will get Elon in trouble for manipulating the stock price. Let's see. Which tactic are you referring to? Sorry, I'm just looking at these comments. Let's see. B. Deering, maybe his comments. Let me look at B. Deering here. B. Deering, Elon doesn't do anything that he hasn't thought through completely. The man is a genius. Absolutely. He's already thought about the next chess move. Clean house. Go, Elon. It's okay. Let the stock bottom out and let Elon grab it then. I don't know how that works. How does it work? Because he had to buy out the company, he has to get the board to agree. So I don't know how that works. Can he just buy 51% as a private person and then just vote and influence it? Or I don't know. There might be other chess moves that I'm not aware of other than pulling out. But his threat is just pulling all the way out. And I think if they say no to him buying it here, I think this is him saying, remember when this news first broke, I said, Elon's coming in that boardroom saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And he started out saying the easy way, we'll play the long game. And he saw that they were going to actually try to hurt him in the long game. It was going to be a complete waste of time. So he backed out. And then now he's doing this move. He's not going to do any move with like, I'm buying 51%, or he's not doing that. His money would be better spent starting his own thing. And what do you guys think about me? My idea is, Elon, we need you to be the leader to bring what we've already got together. Gab is a great platform, but the AI could be better to block stuff you don't want to see, because it's the truest of the free speech platforms. You're going to see N-bombs. You're going to see insensitive stuff, but they have their own servers. Like you got Gab, you've got Rumble, and Rumble bought locals, and then you got Odyssey, then you got BitChute, and I don't know who you bring in, and then Tim Pool's working on his own thing. Like I think Elon can be that person to say, who wants to work with me? Let's throw that out there. Who wants to meet with me? And if somebody says they don't want to meet with him, then obviously that's not somebody to work with. You'd be a damn fool not to meet with Elon Musk, even if you don't like him. But I would just say, I'm going to throw this summit together. I'm going to invite the head honchos, Daily Wire, locals, all these people who have seemed to be I don't want to say anti-establishment, free thinkers. If you're a free thinker, now you're anti-establishment. Bring them together. What do you think about that? That's where I think his power could be. What's the most bang for his buck? Just like Truth Social just came into the game, and it's like, man, you came into the game too late. And there's Getter, there's all these other companies out here, and not that Elon Musk would take them over. He would say, I want to do one platform, and you all play in this field. And you're still competitors, so you have to compete to get people to sign up for your site. I don't know what that looks. I'm not that smart. But decentralized, so I don't have Elon would have to say, I have no centralized power over it. So if somebody tweets something or whatever, you can delete it maybe from your Getter, but you can't delete it forever. I don't know what that looks like. But that's where I think his value would be the best in my interest. Would that benefit? Because remember, free speech is not his number one interest. His number one interest is protecting the free speech of people who support Tesla and his properties, because they are under attack. A lot of people are shadow banned just for supporting Tesla. They're not robots. They're just really people who like Tesla. And you go look them up on the shadow ban list, they're shadow banned. Warren Redlick and other people who don't even talk politics on their YouTube. A lot of their videos start out demonetized like mine. And I understand why mine are. They eventually monetize them, but it's just taboo subjects. But they're talking about Tesla. Why are they demonetized? Because there's power. There's power in promoting Tesla. And I think most people are authentic, but there's power in it that they want to harness. B. Deering, yes, I agree. He would be better off to start his own company, but then you still have the not freedom of speech Twitter. You got to fight. Yeah. And even if he bought Twitter, you still got the non-freedom of speech other platforms too. So no, it doesn't fix Twitter, but I think in the end, Elon Musk, if he is doing something, it will be to maximize profits, to protect his interests and free speech. So if you do all three of those things, you destroy Twitter. You would easily destroy Twitter. You'd be like a TikTok without the Chinese influence, the power of TikTok. I don't think it would look exactly like TikTok. I don't know how it would look, but Elon Musk wants to compete with TikTok. He doesn't want to compete with Facebook. Nobody really needs to. Twitter is better than Facebook. I mean, Facebook is basically Twitter with a different format. Let's see here. We're talking about lunar vehicles. I think the Cybertruck is a lunar vehicle. Grim Metals, what's up? If he pulls out and the stock price tanks, he could just come right back and buy it all at half price. I don't know how that works logistically. Would he? I don't know. Yeah, if he can do that, then yeah, I would agree. I think if this offer isn't accepted, though, just don't stop playing games with it and just start your own stuff, because it's going to take years to get your own stuff off the ground and to get the people on it, to get it working, and it's going to take years to do that. Maybe he'll do a trimmed down version that could come out, within 12 months. I don't know. But I think Elon Musk really wants to affect the midterms. He really does, to protect the interests of his company, but then also I think he has a principled. He doesn't like what's happening with the banning. Y'all saw Libs of TikTok got banned. I don't know which tweet got her banned. I don't know if she's back yet or not. I'll just search it real quick. But they're just banning everyone, and no surprise at all. We're not surprised by any means, but it's just, it's just disturbing, isn't it? Can we agree that it's just disturbing behavior to even ban, like, for what? Libs of TikTok is, basically a very milquetoast site, and what it's doing is really just exposing, just really retweeting TikTok videos is half of what it does. So let's see what's going on here. Twitter just censored Libs of TikTok, locking the account for hateful conduct. So they're doing this Game of Thrones flex, where they lock your account, and then they say you can get it back if you bend the knee and admit to your hateful conduct. See how powerful that is? Libs of TikTok said they got this message. This is the one they all get. Babylon Bee got it too, and Babylon Bee could go back on. So what happened with Eric July? Eric July got this too. Did he bend the knee? And he doesn't seem like the type of dude to, and I wouldn't blame him if he did. I'm not trying to knock him, but I saw he got back on months ago, and it's great to have him back on Twitter. I think it's worth it sometimes to just bend the knee, and you're a guest on their platform. But I forgot what happened, how he got back on. So it says you violated our rules against hateful conduct. As a result, we've locked you out, basically, is what it's saying. You can still browse Twitter, so they can still be on Twitter, but you can only send DMs, no tweets, retweets. They still have fleets in here. No fleets, okay. Your account will be restored. So it says learn more. So your account will be restored to full functionality in 12 hours and 0 minutes. But the learn more is you've got to delete the tweet. So you basically have to admit that your conduct was hateful. When you're like, wait a second, I'm not admitting that. Well, yes, you will if you want to use this platform. That's some crazy stuff right there, man. Yeah. So Libs of TikTok was, it's not temporarily locked out. You're locked out until you. So it means I don't know. It means temporary if you plan on bending the knee. I'll look and see if Libs of TikTok has tweeted anything. I've seen a lot of tweets there. This site, I've seen this site rise. I think when I was following it only had like 30,000 followers. It's 600,000. So you saw on its way easily to 1 million or more. It's become important for the culture war for people on the left and the right. I think this site could easily get 14 million if it weren't, affected by the algorithm. Let's see if there's any recent tweets here. See if they got back on. Because if they got back on, they probably would tweet something. No. So a lot of people are, it's funny how you show a mirror to people and they call you hateful. And that's all it is literally retweeting this stuff. Just showing what you've said. Yeah. So this is another one. Parents need to stay out of classrooms. Yeah. So there's a battle for the soul of your children in public classrooms. So my point is Elon's watching all this. He's a big fan of Babylon Bee. He likes humor. He likes using humor as a weapon or a way to diffuse things. And to see Babylon Bee get suspended, same lockout that they did with Libs of TikTok, he's pissed off. He's pissed off beyond belief. Let's look here. Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't think Eric Smith says, I don't think Eric July bent the knee to Twitter. I think there was a compromise and Eric July had a good counter argument. Wow. That dude is impressive. He's talked to YouTube, gotten out of strikes, which he's right. I'm not saying he's just impressive. Not everybody can do that. And that's the danger part of the danger of Elon Musk buying Twitter is if he sees the algorithm, sees what was wrong with it, exposes it, then creates a new neutral algorithm so you give people what they actually want, how big do you think Eric July would get? Like, that's what I was saying. That's how big do you think Eric July would get simply from being able to promote his stuff on Twitter with no, and I don't know, maybe he's not shadow banned now, but maybe if he is, how big, just Tim Pool, how big could some people who might be shadow banned, libs of TikTok and all that, potentially, I don't know if they are or not, but the algorithm isn't friendly to them, I don't think. What if you do algorithm that is more friendly to them, regardless if they're banned or not now? And they get bigger. That's the threat. Comic Dave Smith. Maybe he would have a chance at president for real. Like, that's how powerful this is. People hear like, whoa. I thought the Libertarian Party was some old BS. And they're on some real stuff? Oh, I might jump aboard. Mises Caucus? Oh my God. And that's how I felt when I found out about the Mises Caucus. Love them. Oh, wow. And that's the power. The whole narrative is, they're having difficulty keeping it up right now. They're keeping up the narrative via chopsticks at this point. And then Elon Musk buys Twitter and unleashes the power of this platform. Oh, that alone could just topple everything over. Topple elections, change globalism. It's that powerful. Open up eyes. What movie are we referring to here? We bent the knee for 2 weeks. Yeah. B. Deering. Man, B. Deering has comments that always hit me. Man, your comments be hitting me, man. We bent the knee for 2 weeks and see how that worked out. That's a tough time frame to remember. 2 weeks to slow the spread. 2 weeks to stop the spread. And I was still blue-pilled at the time. I will never forget this because Italy did it first. And I never forget reading it. And I'm like, I didn't know much about it. I'm like, this is a virus. So what does locking down do? Does it, I guess because you don't interact with people, it delays things so hospitals don't get overrun? But I'm like, what's the impact to the economy? Is that worth it? I remember just thinking that to my head. And I even told my wife this. I was like, Italy locked down and they're locking us down and they're talking about 2 weeks to slow the spread. But that doesn't make sense to me. What are the ramifications of keeping people locked inside? Like back then, you really couldn't even go outside. People looked at you crazy if you were outside, even with a mask on outside. Man, I'll never forget those. Man, that is crazy. Wow, that just happened. Can you believe that? I have a hard out at 10, so I'll just be here a couple more moments. But man. Casual Goats. What was it in 1984? The party could make you confess to your crimes, whether it was true or not. Yep. Very similar. I don't remember that exactly. I got to read that again, but yeah. Yeah, it's never worth it to bend the knee. I think you have to make strategic decisions, though. You might look at something and, I even talked about when he talked about getting a medical procedure, you got to talk to your doctors, make your own decisions. But you got to factor in what the ramifications are and make the right decision for you. So I think sometimes there is a time to bend the knee. I do there could be a time to bend the knee. There is a time. Just if you weigh the options and say long term, like maybe there's a little bend the knee, like Libs of TikTok acknowledges the hateful content. That would hurt. That would really be a tough one for me to acknowledge hateful content when it's not. But maybe for the long term, is it worth it or not? I don't know. I'm not saying it is or not, but you could see the case both ways. I think Matt Walsh bent the knee. Matt Walsh got locked out. I think he just clicked it and kept it moving. M-Ball, I was shadow banned so many times on Twitter I quit using it. Yeah, that's not a human doing that. That's straight up from the algorithm. Labeling your content as borderline or hateful or whatever they do, and we want to limit that. So imagine the power people would have if Elon Musk freed the algorithm for everyone. Just common people to express themselves. People would be rushing to the Twitter platform. They would be running to it. Most people. Even the people who are against it, you would have to fight the battle on the platform because that's where everybody's running to. That's where all the normies are running to. You would see even the cabal types, the cabal, the pro-authoritarians, they would have to stay on there. They'd have to be on the battlefield. I have no question. Eric Smith says locking down has specific uses, especially for blood-borne pathogens such as Ebola, but airborne pathogens are a different beast. So I'm not an expert in that area, but what really, I just break things down to basic level. When you look at any type of pandemic, you would always start with what are the easiest solutions that people can go to, whether it's preventative measures or early therapy. Like, is it vitamins? Is it exercise? And none of those discussions ever happened. There was no public discussion. So even though I'm not an expert in, bloodborne and all that, I don't need to be. If something happens, we say we're going to lock down for 2 weeks, but nobody talks about the economic and mental ramifications of doing this. They don't even bring it up. Never even brought up. Then I know there's something wrong, right? I mean, you don't need to know all the details. Like, maybe locking down is the right thing to do, but if we're not talking about the ramifications, then what? And I would never, and just to be clear, I would never support a government lockdown. So what the government should do is give you, here's my recommendation. That's really what the CDC did do. You see Rochelle Walensky trying to cover her tracks saying, all I did was give you recommendations. The politicians did the lockdowns. So really the medical experts, Congress can have their own medical experts. The executive branch can have, they can have their own experts. And that was another red flag, to consolidate all the power to just a couple figureheads like Birx and Ouchie. So you look at it, it all stunk to high heaven. You don't even need to be any type of medical expert. Don't even need to get into the studies. Just the approach did not start from a standpoint that made any sense to anybody. So yeah, got on to that a little bit, but you see the power. What's the next thing? Is it the climate change? Is it pandemic? Is it Ukraine? What are the impacts to Russia, Ukraine if Elon Musk takes Twitter and allows these accounts that have been banned for they didn't post anything that was verifiably false. They just got banned for not having the right ideology and too much influence. What if Elon Musk says, no, they can stay on. If you don't want them, you can block them. That affects like international geopolitics. That's why there's a 0% chance they will accept this offer. 0. And there's not much that I'm that strong on. So I got a hard out of 10. Thank you for the comments. I can't get them all, so I apologize, but great discussion. And I got other videos coming through, so I appreciate the support. Thanks, everybody. Take care.